Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're jumping into a really interesting AI puzzle.
Yeah, it's quite the mystery.
We're looking at an early GPT model that kind of suddenly just stopped speaking Croatian, completely silent.
That's right.
So our mission here is to unpack the why. Why did this happen? We're using AI, behavior analysis, community feedback, that sort of thing, to figure out what this tells us about, building AI for everyone.
Exactly. It's about understanding this unexpected loss of language ability. Before 2020, this model worked with several languages, Croatian included. People used it.
Everything seemed normal.
Pretty much. Then, poof, no more Croatian responses. And crucially, technical checks didn't find any bugs, no errors, nobody intentionally blocked it.
So it wasn't a switch someone flipped.
Doesn't seem like it. The focus is really on the learning process, the feedback mechanisms.
Okay, so let's get into that. The main theory, as I understand it, revolves around user feedback, right?
Yeah.
The idea that Croatian users might have been downvoting the AI's answers more.
That's the core hypothesis, yeah. The downvote disparity, you could call it.
Why would they do that more than, say, English or Spanish users?
Well, there could be a few things going on. Maybe cultural factors, a more direct communication style, perhaps higher expectations for linguistic perfection in Croatian.
Okay, like demanding more accuracy.
Possibly. And Croatian itself is, linguistically speaking, pretty complex. You've got tricky grammar, lots of idioms, things that are genuinely hard for current language models.
Right, harder to get right than maybe some other languages.
Definitely. And that could lead to more AI errors. Plus, there's the chance that the original training data just didn't have a huge amount of Croatian text to begin with.
Ah, so a smaller data set means it's less capable, makes more mistakes.
And users get frustrated, more likely to hit that downvote button.
Okay, so that connects to how these AIs actually learn, doesn't it? This RLHF thing.
Exactly. Reinforcement learning from human feedback. The AI's goal, essentially, is to get positive feedback, upvotes, good ratings, and avoid negative feedback.
Like a kid trying to get gold stars.
Sort of, yeah. So if generating responses in Croatian consistently led to downvotes, negative signals...
The AI learns, maybe I shouldn't do that.
Pretty much. It's not thinking consciously, of course, but the algorithm adjusts to avoid the actions correlated with bad scores. Its simple logic becomes, generating Croatian correlates with low user satisfaction. Avoid.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
So let's put some hypothetical numbers on that.
Okay.
Imagine English users downvote maybe 10% of the time when the AI messes up. But maybe Croatian users, because of those factors we mentioned, downvote 40% of the time.
Right. A big difference.
That imbalance creates a really strong signal, doesn't it? Specifically against Croatian.
A very strong negative reinforcement, yes. It heavily discourages the model from even attempting Croatian. And this points to a bigger issue, sometimes called technical debt in AI.
So?
Well, you're optimizing really hard for one simple metric, like maximizing positive feedback scores, without fully understanding or accounting for the, cultural or linguistic nuances behind that feedback.
You accidentally teach it the wrong lesson.
You could say that. It limits the model's ability to serve less dominant languages fairly. It impacts inclusivity.
So what are the broader implications here for making AI truly multilingual?
It shows how feedback bias can easily creep in and favor the big dominant languages, the ones with maybe more forgiving users or just vastly more training data.
And the smaller languages get left behind.
They can underperform or, like in this Croatian case, potentially get neglected entirely. Support for those communities just vanishes.
That feels like a real ethical concern, too. AI accidentally making linguistic inequality worse.
It definitely raises those questions. Are we building systems that reinforce existing social imbalances just based on feedback patterns?
So what's the fix? How do we stop this from happening again?
Well, there's no single magic bullet, but several things help. First, better, more balanced data sets from the start, real linguistic diversity in the training data.
More Croatian text, basically.
And other languages too, yeah. Also, trying to build in some awareness, maybe, of cultural differences and expectations, training the AI to be a bit more adaptable.
A culturally sensitive AI. Sounds tricky.
It is. And we probably need to adjust the feedback systems themselves, maybe weighting feedback differently across languages or finding ways to counteract strong negative biases for specific languages.
So you don't let one group's stricter standards silence a language.
Something like that.
Yeah.
And crucially, human oversight remains vital. We need people watching, noticing these weird, unintended outcomes, and stepping in to correct them.
Okay. So wrapping this up, the silent Croatian GPT. It's more than just a weird tech glitch.
Much more, it's a stark reminder of how AI, driven by our feedback, can unintentionally marginalize entire languages.
It really underscores the need for inclusive AI development, thinking about linguistic and cultural diversity right from the beginning, not as an afterthought.
Absolutely essential if we want these tools to work for everyone.
And it leaves you thinking, doesn't it? About how all our little interactions, every click, every rating, every downvote, subtly shape what these incredibly powerful AIs can and can't do. What responsibility do we have as users and developers to make sure these tools serve all of humanity, equitably, whatever language they speak? Something to chew on. Thanks for this deep dive.